Hi, I'm Aaron Edwards,
Ryan Wiseman.
and today we're going to show you how to fade. So we're going to start with a 1 and work our way up from there. The top on his specific style we're not going to touch, so let's get into it. Alright, so I'm going to start by making my guideline, and ideally it depends on how high you want the fade, but in this case we're just going to go above the ear here. And because we're going along with the style of hair that he has, the guideline does have to be angled in order to complement the length that he has on the top. So it's important to remember when you're making the guideline that it's a straight line, because you're going to be working off of that line, and if it's not straight, then every other guideline you make with the higher guards is not going to come out the way that you want it. It's going to be offside or not balanced. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the other side, and I'm going to replicate the guideline on that side now. So I just finished with the 1. We are going to have to come back to the 1, but that's when we're going to be blending the lines in between each guard length. So I'm going to a 2 now, blades still closed. And now we're making a second guideline. And it's important to remember too, you always have to flick the wrist. That way it kind of gives its own little fade in itself, so it's easier to blend in. So always remember flicking outwards. And another tip too to remember is you can go left and right so that you're covering all angles, because sometimes on different clients the hair grows in different directions, and when you go back and forth as is, it makes sure it gets all of those cross hairs that are growing in a different pattern. Alright, now I'm going to match the other side over here. Now we're moving to our third guard. Same thing, up a little higher this time. Another thing that helps too is when I comb like this, it straightens the hairs back out to make sure that you're getting the straightest fade and best fade as possible. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move to my last guard, just repeating the same steps, is I'm not holding the comb flat on the side of his head, because what that would do is that would cut into my fade, and I would have to refade, because then I'd have a short line where I don't want to have a short line. So it's always important to comb flat to the head, then pull off. So I'm comfortable with where the fade is at with the guards. Now the last step, which I consider the cherry on top, I'm going to use my thinning shears and that just allows you to get a more optimal fade, because the thinning shears are not like scissors. They only cut certain sections of the hair. So, back to my other comb. And we're just going to go up. And just walk the fade all the way up. Trying to remember that you don't want to keep the comb flat. Just so that you're not cutting into hair that you don't want to be shorter. Now, some people do this process that I'm doing with the actual scissors, but that's when you have to start to be really careful. Because if you don't keep the comb off of the head, you're chopping your fade up. It's also important to keep moving. If you stay in one spot, then you're going to have chunks missing. That's why I'm always sliding upwards with my comb. Now with the edgers, you can then go and clean up the lines that you need to clean up around the ears. Once you've edged the client and you're happy with how the fade is, then that's pretty much, you know, you're done. Making sure that the client's happy with the job that's done also. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed.